introduced the only man in our group. We let him join after being 5 for a long time, so now we are 6. We've been married a long time. I didn't marry him because he majored in physics. I didn't marry him because he was a design engineer. I married him, I think, because he is so curious and introduced me to so many different subjects as I did him. And we complement each other, even now, in a sort of funny way, a kind of minus way, in that my voice is disappearing due to a paralyzed vocal cord while his hearing is disappearing. But we still try to write poetry. So this is my dear husband, Lyle Lovgren. Thank you.
Thank you. I was, excuse me, raised on a 19th century farm in the 20th century. And when I came to Minneapolis, lots and lots of years ago, one of the first things I tried to do was to comb the hay seeds out of my hair. I did this by getting a student ticket to the symphony. They had those back then. Reading the backs of lots of LP record jackets, and reading the New Yorker in the library. The New Yorker was my ideal of how to be sophisticated. We still subscribe to it. But one of the writers then was A.J. Liebling, and I read much later a collection of his writings when he was a correspondent in Paris. He was in a restaurant and got talking to the waitress about his romantic problems, and I think this is translated from French, by the way, but what the waitress said was, "A chagrin of love never forgets itself. You must not make bile of it." So I wrote a poem about it. After an exhausting rest, a wash rag soaked even in stagnant water clears my eyes. My dreams of muddy basements fade to face the normal day where water still reflects the sun and worms and beetles hard at work keep the earth from slowing down. What never forgets itself? A chagrin of love, she said. Why then, though senile as a toad, I won't be truly lost. I'll make it home. When I was about 9 years old, my parents made the mistake of taking me to a horror movie, and I was horrified for several years after that. Now I watch them on television. They're not scary at all. I can't imagine what I was thinking of. But in honor of my past fears, I decided to take on the persona of a werewolf. And this is called The Werewolf's Full Moon Song. Tonight the moon is full, the tide is spring, blood salt and sea salt move as one, hair grows on my palms. I must out and roam, howling on a snowy hill, the call to all the undead spirits awakened by the oxhide moon yoked to the sun at Syzygy. They at least know the meaning of infinite, being atoms scattered here and there, no more surviving as the fittest, died unfit, now unfettered, free to follow lunar force under the green moonlight, bright as day. I read the newspaper carefully because I'm looking for funny things. And this one amused me. It was back in 1993. I clipped it out. It was so amusing. This was about a woman who was a surrogate mother for her sister who was sterile. And they didn't want to do this the ordinary way with the sister's husband as a sperm donor because that would be adultery. So they found a way to artificially inseminate this sister using household tools. She stood on her head and was inseminated with a turkey baster. Now this kid, let's say 1993, this kid would be in his or her 20s now, and I wonder if they ever told about the circumstances. At any rate, it's called The Basted Child. Dad and Aunt were married, but longing to have me, so they were greatly cheered when her sister volunteered a surrogate to be. It would have been a carnal sin for Daddy to have faced her, so she stood upon her head, was felicitously bred with a squeeze-bulb turkey baster. You could question Mama's intellect of what she had a mind for, but she was no one's fool at using kitchen tools beyond what they're designed for. Now, I don't speak Swedish. I understand some of it, having been raised in a family where they spoke Swedish when they didn't want the kids to understand what they were saying. So a relative sent me a book of poems in Swedish by a poet named Thomas Tranströmer, who won the Nobel Prize a few years ago for literature. And I decided to translate some of them. This is, I'm going to read this in Swedish first so you get an idea what the sound is like. It's called Skeppehistoria. Det finns bara vinterdagen då havet är släckt med bergstrakter, sjukande i grå fjäderskrud, en kort minut blott, långa timmer med vågor som bläckar lodjur, fåfangt sökande fäste i strandgruset. En sådan dag går väl vraken ur havet och söker sina räddare, bändade i stadens larm och drunknade besättningar blåser mot land, tunnare in pipbrök. I norr går det i riktiga lodjuren med västa klor och drummande ögon. I norr där dagen bor i en gruva både dag och natt. Där den enda överlevande får sitta vid norrskenens unn och lyssna till de ihjälfrusnas musik. Now, this is my translation. Ship story. There are bare winter days when the sea is kin to highlands, squatting in gray feather garb, a short minute blue, long hours with waves like pale lynxes, vainly seeking hold in beach gravel. On such days may come wrecks from the sea to seek their owners, stretching in the town's noise, and the drowned crew blows toward shore, thinner than pipe smoke. In the north are the real lynxes, with sharpened claws and dreaming eyes. In the north, where the days live in a mine, both day and night. There, the sole survivor can sit at the Northern Lights oven and listen to the frozen dead's music. And finally, when my parents died on this farm of old age, neither my brother nor I wanted to have anything to do with it. And so we held an auction, sold the place and held an auction. This is the last poem I'm going to read, and it's titled Farm Auction. An unpainted boar-bearing hog crate, a two-wheeled trailer, tires gone rotten, grain binder, corn binder, horse poles attached, unoiled harnesses, brittle from age, 14 cans full of nails pounded straight to use again, rainy day granary work. The auction hands drag up the goods, the auctioneer yabbles, the clerk keeps track of it all 100 years worth of my family's worldly goods. The Ladies' Missionary Society sells such an amount of coffee and donuts, they go into town for more. The field's too wet to work, the neighbors come in the drizzle. Worn out wrenches and pliers from earlier auctions, useless yet, packaged together with fish spears and skis with strap leather bindings, unsteerable. $1 takes all. a fanning mill, breaking plow, mason jars, cultivators, cooking pots soldered but leaky, greeting cards, hundreds with gray grinning cherubs, hay wagons, rugs knitted from plastic bread wrappers, 1918 bullets still armed, a victory medal, 1935 potato prices, a masher as well, 2 stoves, 1 cooks and 1 heats, axes and 2-man saws for their wood, a giant crock for sulfured apples, a rescue bathtub never used, no plumbing. It spent years in the yard spawning mosquitoes, a wooden tank with wheels for spraying and killing potato bugs, perfused with parascreen, a rolling toxic waste site, sold with the rest. Hay forks and ropes and pulleys and oil, used but saved in 5-gallon cans, 50 cents here, $2 there. What do they want with it all? A couple more years and their auctions will be held. Piling and piling, the last farmer will have to bid on it all. Finally, at dark, the clerk tallies up, pays off the hands, and hands us the cash. Not much, but more than it's worth. Warm in our car, we drive back to the city. Okay, that's it.